Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we are talking about spells, and we're talking about spells that are traps. When you choose your spells, you're trying to find things that enhance your game and empower your character. And most spells have a way to do that in a pretty significant way. But some spells just don't. There are spells out there that create effects that just aren't necessary or that can be easily replicated with other effects. And one of the biggest offenders for this are cantrips. You see, some people think of cantrips as free spells because you can cast them infinitely. There's no use cost to them. But you only have a couple. Most classes only get between 2 and 4 cantrips and only get some more later on in their adventuring careers. And when you are low on spell slots, or have none for that matter, your cantrips are all you've got, and they need to count. Choosing bad cantrips can be really, really debilitating. Today we're discussing the Bard. Bards are the masters of charm and illusion and enchantment, and not a bad choice for the jack of all trades way that they work. They can work okay in combat, amazing in social situations, and they're just good at basically everything. But what cantrips should bards not take? I've prepared a top 5 list of cantrips I recommend that bards avoid. Before we get to the list, though, I'd like to let you know that Relaxed Fantasy Review has memberships. For $1 a month, you get a couple things. First, you get a badge in your name next to the comments, letting folks know that you're a supporter, as well as earning you my undying gratitude in the process. But now, we actually offer something else. I upload my videos every other day, have done since the beginning of the channel. Now, when members are signed up, they get early access to the videos. I upload the video the day before it's uploaded to the public, and members get early access to it. If you can't be a member, don't worry. The schedule hasn't changed and the videos will continue to upload as normal, but if you'd like to get a day early access, click the join button below the video and sign up. Thank you for watching and enjoying the content. So, Bard cantrips. Let's start with an easy one. Dancing Lights. Dancing Lights is an interesting spell. You create 4 orbs of dim light that you can then move around the battlefield with a bonus action. That doesn't sound too bad, but there's a bit of an issue with it. The lights are torch-sized, which means that you can get better lights, as in bright and dim, from a torch, a common piece of adventuring gear that costs basically nothing. The other thing about dancing lights that's tricky is that even though you can independently control the lights, it takes your concentration to cast this spell. And if you're concentrating on dancing lights, you're not concentrating on better stuff. Concentration is a resource. In fact, you can only concentrate on one spell at a time. And if you're concentrating on something pivotal like Bless or Fly or Invisibility, and you decide that you want to cast Dancing Lights to light up an area, guess what? That other spell you were using, it's gone now. So, not a great start. Not a great start. I've seen some races that get this as an inherent cantrip. They just get it automatically. I mean, then you're not really wasting anything to have it, but be careful how you use it, because concentration is a valuable thing you don't want to waste. On the flip side, there's another spell, Light. Light doesn't take concentration, and instead of lasting for a minute like Dancing Lights, it lasts for a full hour. But I still put it on this list of cantrips to avoid. Why? Because it turns out that you still have torches. The same answer applies. You don't need to use a cantrip to light up an area. You have torches for that. And most races have dark vision anyway. The light cantrip allows you to enchant an object rather than creating free-floating lights. So you could light up a sword or a shield, or heck, I've seen a lot of players just grab stones from the ground and make them into small light bulbs, and then you can throw it somewhere. There's a use case for it, but it's just not worth using one of your very precious cantrip slots on. There are better things to take. So what else is on this list? What are bards good at? They're good at charm. They're good at advantage on charisma checks and things like that. But there's a cantrip that can guarantee that. The Friends cantrip. for your concentration and an action, you can gain advantage on charisma checks against a specific creature. You designate a creature, and you have advantage on checks for the next minute against them. That sounds great, right? The problem is the after effect. Once the concentration on the spell ends, the creature knows that you did it. And the spell is actually pretty specific. It says they become hostile. It's not one of those things where you can say, oh, you were my friend before, I got advantage on my charisma check, but we're still buddies, right? No, you can't, because the spell doesn't give you a choice. The DM just, if the DM is playing rules as written, using the spell friends doesn't make you a friend, it makes you an enemy. It literally makes the creature hostile to you a minute later, which isn't very much time. Like, that's enough to do 1 or 2 charisma interactions, then the spell's over. I've heard arguments of people saying that you can use this to, like, quickly enchant a guard, get past them, and then a minute later, they might be hostile to you, but they don't know where you are. And sure, yeah, you could do that, but the risk you take of raising the alarm, and now you've got someone else who's chasing you, it's just not worth it. And it's not even guaranteeing a successful charisma check. It just gives you advantage. And yes, advantage is powerful, but it's not worth all that. I say skip this cantrip entirely. The next one I've chosen is the spell Blade Ward. Blade Ward is an interesting one because it actually has a very powerful effect. For an action, without concentration, which is nice, you can give yourself resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, just like a barbarian's rage. Using this action means that any damage you take will be halved until the end of your next turn as well. So it's both the turn that you spend, and then all the round of combat, so any attacks you'll take, and then your next turn, it's still active in case you have to take an opportunity attack or something. So you'd think that's okay, but the problem is that it does take a full action. If this spell was a bonus action, it would be phenomenally powerful. And there is, in fact, a race, the Earth Genasi, that gained the power to cast Blade Ward as a bonus action a couple times per long rest, so that shows you just how powerful it can be. What if I want to defend myself? What if I don't want to hurt anybody and I just want to keep myself safe? There's a better option than using Blade Ward, and it's an action that doesn't even take magic. It's called the dodge action. If you use your action to dodge, you can just give disadvantage to your enemies on all their attacks against you. And what does less damage than a attack you have resistance again? An attack that misses you. And disadvantage on an attack means it's not likely your enemies are going to hit you. So, genuinely, don't take Blade Ward. Unless you have a way to cast it as a bonus action, don't take Blade Ward. Just dodge. It's a better choice. Finally, the spell True Strike. This one has a bit of an infamy because it's considered the worst cantrip in the game. Here's how True Strike works. You designate a creature. You cast this cantrip as your action. You then gain insight on their defenses. And then the next attack on the next turn that you make has advantage. So it is a way to grant yourself advantage. It does take concentration, though, so that's another thing you have to remember. This will strip you of any other concentration effect you're holding. This doesn't sound terrible, though. If you can attack as a bonus action, then you could True Strike. Maybe you could quicken a spell and attack with advantage. But True Strike doesn't actually let you do that. Rules as written, if you read the words of the spell, it says, on your next turn, the first attack you make has advantage. Meaning you can't set something up where you cast True Strike and attack in the same turn to guarantee advantage. It doesn't work like that. You have to spend a turn, and then you get advantage on the next turn. And let's just assume for a moment that you're a bard who can make a single weapon attack, and you're trying to really land it. You spend one turn casting True Strike, and the second turn attacking with advantage. So that's one attack with advantage you got in 2 turns. You know what's better than making one attack with advantage? Making 2 attacks. Attack the first turn and attack the second turn. Mathematically, it's better pretty much all the time. There is no reason to use True Strike And even doing some little hack where you can True Strike and attack all at once still doesn't work. The spell doesn't let it work. It's an awful spell, and I do not recommend anybody take it. None of these spells, except for maybe True Strike, are useless. They have use cases. They have reasons you might want to use them. But there are so many better choices. That's the reason I'm making this list. These are the 5 worst cantrips available to bards, and I recommend that bards, if you're considering these spells, take a second look at some other options, because these ones probably are not the ones you want. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there, and keep your eyes peeled for more bad spell reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.